Good morning and welcome to My Left Ear. It is Sunday, last day of June 30th, 2024. I'm Carrie Freeman. I'm the writer, producer, director of My Left Ear, which is, I love to say that. It's very empowering. This is a liberal YouTube channel. I focus a lot on politics, and I will do that through the election in November. And what I do is I access my left ear, which is where I get a lot of psychic information and intuitive hits. I disseminate the news and I share what seems relevant to my left ear and what I think will matter to you. I utilize the ancient runes and ask questions, get some very interesting answers. Something called good evidence that I always add at the end. And meaningful quotes. This is video 2203, and I'm reminded to say, please subscribe and like. All right, here we go. I'm starting with good news. The Biden campaign just announced they had record fundraising numbers following President Biden's debate, which a lot of people thought, this horrible debacle, the end of the world. I did not. So a Saturday memo from the Biden campaign chair, Jen O'Malley Dillon, said, in the wake of the debate, Team Biden-Harris raised more than $27 million. And that's how much a whole group of people thought Joe Biden was a failure, but he wasn't. And I'm going to go into this in a moment. I mean, he appeared that way. But Trump was pretty good at making himself appear as a lying jackass. And maybe we need to give people a little more credit. So this is very positive. In politics, money does speak. And here's my personal note on the debate. Whenever I, in my life, have had a head cold, I shut down, I cannot function. I handle the flu better than a head cold. I mean, I go down like a submarine. So at 81, I'm adding Joe under debate pressure with weeks of being sequestered with his team and testing him and all this stuff. And then he's faced with an unpredictable maniac who's now a felon, who lies like he breathes, with vehemence and pathology and with no facts. So, and there was no fact checking, which CNN has come under just horrific criticism. And nobody knew going into it. People were guessing, well, there's probably going to be some fact. No. It was a bad setup. And it said that it was set up by Joe Biden. So be it. Maybe even some bad astrology. Now, Joe's team, I do have questions. Number one, they had him running around doing interviews and appointments on the day of the debate with a head cold. And I'm like, who in the hell put that together? He should have been resting. I don't know. So that really bothered me. It really bothered me that, was there no makeup artist to give him a little color? I mean, I said, and I'm very fond of Joe Biden. I believe in Joe Biden, but I thought he looked embalmed next to Trump's super tan. So, but everything happens for a reason. And I on my Patreon, I have talked about the Stoics, and I've talked about amor fati, AMOR FATI, the love of fate. And that's part of Stoicism, which I find very helpful, Stoicism. So that's where that is. But by the way, I want to share on my left ear that I don't think I've ever expressed this, but now we're getting close to these debates. I have long had a gut feeling, so let's call it my left ear, that the Republicans may not have great voting turnout. Isn't that interesting? So let's see. Oh, and by the way, in terms of predictions, I was wrong. I was wrong about Trump canceling the debate. But even people that I talked to that morning, the morning of the debate, said it could happen at any minute. And so everybody was kind of waiting. Is he going to show? Is he going to have, some bum excuse? But he's a showboat and he had to show up. So I was wrong about that. And I always want to own that. But I wasn't alone. A lot of people thought he wasn't going to show up. And instead of going through a litany of all the great things that Joe Biden has accomplished, I have a great graphic in the community section. Some of you have seen it. And it's really well done. And just visit it because it just has all of his wonderful accomplishments as president. All right, so what I decided to do, and I did it after the debate, was I just picked up the runes without lots of thought and meditation, and I said, so how's Joe doing now? This is after the debate. So I'd like boom, 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 boom. I picked my 3 runes, and I was like kind of flabbergasted, but I processed it. And now I'm going to share with you what I got and how I processed it. It may seem negative, but it is not. There is a story here. So in answer to the question, how's Joe doing, Joe Biden, I got Standstill. And I'm going to show you Standstill. Usually I don't do this, but that's what Standstill looks like. So there's no reverse. You can see that. And it represents the properties of ice, and it suggests stand still. And it says the winter of your spiritual life is upon you. You may find yourself entangled in a situation to whose implications you are, in effect, blind. You may feel powerless to do anything except submit, surrender, even sacrifice something. However, be patient, for this is the period of gestation before rebirth. Okay? Now it goes on, and I really want you to wait for my commentary on this. It says, positive accomplishment is unlikely right now. There is a freeze on useful activity, and your plans are on hold. You may have to submit. Be prepared to spend some time waiting, and don't depend on others right now. And that would be like the New Yorker, the New York Times, that have all come in and said, he has to quit. And yet, Standstill says there is no reason for anxiety. Simply submit and be still. So with its association with ice and winter, it also tells Joe, prepare, which he is already. He turned that around the next morning at dawn. Be ready for when the ice melts, and the ice is melting now. Submit and be still. Trust your own process and just wait for the signs. Now, I'm going to go on to the next one, but I'm going to encapsulate it when I finish. So I picked 3. So the next one I got is unknowable. And unknowable, this is what it looks like. There's nothing there. It's blank. It's unknowable. All right. So unknowable is the end and it's the beginning. It's both things. So the debate was kind of like a dividing line and something ending. Because this is the first time Trump has shown up and, got to run his mouth like this. So this rune of total trust should be taken as exciting evidence, that's their word, of your true destiny, Joe, which rises like the phoenix from the ashes of what is called fate. love of fate. Remember, amor fati. So it portends a symbolic death. And it may relate to some part of your life that is no longer applicable. It advises relinquishing control, which is the ultimate challenge for all of us. And when it appears in your spread, you can be sure that the unknowable is at work, even though we can't see it. So that leaves me to believe there's going to be some surprises, which doesn't surprise me. All right. Within the blankness is undiluted potential for winning. I'm adding that, potential for winning. The forces are moving unseen in the background, and these are forces that you and the Democratic Party have put into effect. So this is an invitation to be with the blankness right now and just trust it. It represents the fertility of the emptiness, which you can fill up with bounty that you create, Joe Biden. So the blank rune is said to represent the highest possibilities of the human endeavor. It is best to let the unknowable stand empty, ready to be filled, and this is a repetitive message in this reading, filled with the life you are creating from this point forward. And what beckons is the creative power of the unknown. And now finally we get through the rune of breakthrough. Breakthrough. It's like a bow tie or a bow tie pasta. Looks like a bow tie pasta, doesn't it? Okay. This is for the spiritual warrior. It's the bright warmth of the sun as it breaks through the final barriers. So this is the, before debate, after debate. Illuminating the self, illuminating Joe Biden. And breakthrough speaks of prosperity, when there's like $27 million that came in, of being able to break through that which has held you back from your progression. And it also represents breakthrough. This is lovely. The light of God. And if you don't use God, we can say the light of spirit, the light of the universe. Okay? In the light of day, all is revealed. So there's going to be more things coming out that are not going to be good for Donald Trump. It's when the light pierces the darkness that the searcher's path is illuminated, okay? The Latin phrase, they're not going for the Stoics here, is carpe diem, seize the day. And Joe Biden did that the very next morning when he got up with all that energy that we know he has and said some great things. I know how to do this job. I'm not what I used to be, but I will never lie to you. I don't lie. I mean, people just cheered like crazy. And I know one more thing, when you get pushed down, you get back up, and they went insane. And that's what he did the very next day. The Joe Biden that did the State of the Union showed up the very next morning. I mean, he made a major rebound. This rune breakthrough encourages him to let go, which I feel like he has, and follow the call. So when I saw these three, standstill, blank, and breakthrough, my immediate response was, oh my God, I don't know if I can share these. This is very worrisome. But I said, you know what? I let them sit out, and I just let myself process out of fear. And I realized these runes actually described this sort of 24-hour period of the debate and he's got to quit, we got to get rid of him, we need to replace Joe Biden, all these reactive and panicked journalists, newspapers. It was like, are you kidding me? You don't have the wisdom to know to just wait a few days It was like stunning. The stupidity to me was stunning what came out. But I realized it just identified this sort of 24-hour period, and that from this illumination, this new path, because Trump just looked like a jerk, the jerk that he is, the insane person that he is. And look at all the money that Joe Biden got. So now Joe is re-energized, and I hope you understand that this reading ends up with breakthrough, but all during the other ones, they were very positive, actually, in their representations. And I feel really good about sharing this because I find the story just moved in on me, and I went, oh, okay, I get it. I'm sure many of you heard about Project 2025. It's the really, really long manifesto written by the far right for the year 2025. And they are assuming they're going to win and take over. And, you know, they would ban all abortions even to save a life. They're going to let women bleed out. There's no exceptions, incest, rape. All we need to do is watch Texas and see what this means. They're going to outlaw all contraception, including IUDs and mifepristone, which takes about 2 months to figure out how to say, and on and on and on. And all I want to say is this is the Handmaid's Tale for 2025. Project 2025 should be renamed the MAGA Handmaid's Tale 2025. It's not going to happen. And in terms of any large amounts of Trump campaign money, my big question is, Laura Trump, will you be giving it all to your father-in-law for his legal fees? And someone has to be researching that, I would think. And by the way, Biden has something that Trump doesn't have. Biden's team has satellite offices set up all over the United States. People are in those offices. They're in that field. They're knocking on doors. Trump does not have that. Trump did not set up, the soldiers like Biden has. Now we're going to go on to one of my favorite people, Bill Palmer, who is correct so much of the time. And I read him on Twitter, but I think he must be on a lot of media posts. So I want to share with you what Palmer said. Trump is running unopposed at this point, and he's still underperforming. Bill Palmer says, I've long predicted that he was going to have trouble at the Republican National Convention, and my left ear agrees with that. It seems probable that a large chunk of delegates will revolt and try to install someone else as their nominee. The odds of this possibility went up once Trump became a convicted felon. The Washington Post says that a delegate revolt is underway and that pro-Trump forces are now scrambling. This revolt is coming from the far right, lunatic fringe delegates who are looking to replace Trump with someone like Michael Flynn. Don't worry, it's a joke. It'll never happen. But that's the talk, okay? So now it's becoming clear, this is still Bill Palmer, that Trump is going to face delicate problems from both sides. There's also going to be establishment delegates trying to replace Trump with someone like Nikki Haley. So it's going to run the gamut. I don't know if Trump is aware what he's going to face. I didn't throw runes on it, and I don't know. He's not aware of a lot, so this could really shock him. And he's getting his sentencing days before the RNC. So this is going to cost Trump delegates on both sides, and could cost him the nomination in a floor fight. And the key word is could. I'm not going to say will cost him, but keep an eye out. And Bill Palmer says, get your popcorn ready. He continues, this is the end of Bill Palmer. There's no possible way to predict what will happen, which I just said, but if there is a delicate fight at the convention, whether it's Trump or someone else, that nominee, let's say if it happens and it's not Trump, will be a lame duck. And then Bill says, in other words, get your popcorn ready. So if you go to Amazon, my favorite popcorn is called Ruby Red. I found Ruby Red at a farm flea market in Southern Illinois. A couple farmers had an RV, and outside they had a big table with these big containers of this popcorn. They were giving samples of it. It was the most wonderful popcorn I've ever had. It almost had a sweet tone to it, and the kernel is bright red. Well, they retired, but I guess it caught on because you can get Ruby Red popcorn on Amazon, and I think it's called Amish Ruby Red popcorn. Really, it's my favorite. All right, we're coming to the end now. I had reason, it was a my left ear thing, but I had an old boyfriend that became a photographer and an artist, and he moved to New Orleans. He survived the hurricane, and he got married late in life. And we stay in touch because when I was writing The Comic's Daughter, I kept sending him chapters, and he gave me like the best notes. His name is Barry. So I found Barry also plays guitar. He's like multi-talented artist, and I found an album cover with him playing the guitar, and I went, God, I should send him this. I should send him this picture. So I sent him the picture, and he called me long distance, and he said, this is the my left ear part. He said, I've been looking for that particular picture for the last 4 days, and I haven't been able to find it. And then I didn't know that, of course, and I just sent it to him. We love those kinds of things when they happen, and they happen a lot. So we got to talking about politics and all this kind of stuff. And Barry kind of has this Southern drawl and his own way of saying things, and no matter what's going on, he's very laid back and he's very cool. And we're talking about choice, women's issues, and this is what Barry said to me, and I just loved it, so I wrote it down. He said, Carrie, the girls are going to win it for us. The girls are going to win it for us. I love that. He didn't say women, the girls are going to, that's so Barry. So I'm sharing that with you. The girls are going to win it for us. Now I'm going to go on to the quotes. Now, I have shared these quotes before, but right at this moment in history, I must repeat them because they're so relevant. So I'm going to go back to Albert Einstein, right? The brilliant Albert Einstein. This quote really matters right now. Einstein wrote a letter to his son, and this was during Eisenhower and the McCarthy era, where they were nailing people in the entertainment industry for being communists, and people lost their income, they lost their careers. A number of people committed suicide. It was so tragic. What Joe McCarthy and Roy Cohn, Trump's mentor, evil persona, ran this. That just destroyed people, destroyed lives. So Einstein wrote to his son, there's something amazing about America's democracy. It's got a gyroscope, and just when you think it's going to go off the cliff, it rights itself. And I think this is a good person to listen to, Albert Einstein, brilliant physicist. And then the other Einstein quote that I love, and it can solve a lot of problems, he said, nothing changes until something moves. And in a simpler form, not looking at the presidential election. It just means when you don't know what to do, this is for me, this is for you, this is for every regular person, do something. Because when you do something, I call it, you infect the quantum field with energy, and things start to break up and open up. So I want to suggest to you that the debate kerfuffle, I don't know if that's in the dictionary, but people use kerfuffle. I'm gonna have to look it up. The debate kerfuffle moved a lot of energy, shocked people. That's the movement. Now Joe gets to reinvent and reinvigorate his race, surprise people, and be like the famous horse, all of a sudden I'm forgetting, Seabiscuit. I'm sorry, I just went off. I didn't have it written down here. Seabiscuit. Read the story of Seabiscuit. See the movie Seabiscuit. It's this horse that people kept giving up on, that a trainer recognized was special, and Seabiscuit won. He was not the odds-on favorite. It's the most beautiful story. So I'm calling Joe Biden Seabiscuit in human form, because Joe rises, he surprises people, and that's what I want to leave you with. I don't want to leave you with this awful stuff that's on Twitter and the newspapers. And the last thing I'll say is, never forget, he got $27 million the day after his so-called debate failure. And now there's a whole bunch of people I don't trust. And those are the people that came out the next day. He's got to go. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This was less than 24 hours ago. Do you not know this man's record? He's about being pushed down and getting up. He's had to overcome so much. So he's an inspiration. All right. This is the stuff I'm leaving you with. I wanted to find the light in what's going on right now. So sit back, and you're going to see the sentencing. You're going to see the Republican National Convention as a SHEIT show. And I say it that way because then it messes up with the algorithms. And now I know if I say like a bad word or something on Twitter, I simply misspell it. So I'll misspell a certain swear word, PHUCKIN. And then I don't get kicked anywhere. So it's a little secret. All right, friends, I have work to do on a creative project. So happy to check in, and I'll see you after the 4th of July. Have a safe one, and I always love your feedback. Let me know your feedback about this. Okay, bye-bye. Take care.